What's going on, guys? Kyger here, coming back with you with this month's tier lists for this week. Right now we're looking at PvP for the classes. Tomorrow will be PvE. Wednesday should be testing and a review of Almond Blossom. I almost want to call her Almond Butter, but we'll be checking her out and telling you what I think about her. And then once I have that finalized, Thursday and Friday should be PvP and PvE tier list for fairies, including Almond Blossom. Now, as you all know, Priest is the top of the top. There have been some shakeups this month, primarily because of the new guild skills and just the play of players. So that's the interesting thing when we look at these tier lists. The way that players play can change a bunch of things. If people don't know how to handle a marksman that knows how to stay at ranged, then marksman's going to be super strong on your server, right? Because a bunch of people say, hey, there's the gladiators, there's the dragon knights, I feel like I die immediately, and you will as a marksman unless you really keep your range, because the marksman does have tons of power. It has the most damage output out of all the classes for PvP, but you have to stay at a range and you have to be very careful to keep that range. Both Gladiator and Dragon Knight have gap closers, but your multi-shot and your first skill are further range than their gap closers. You just have to stay back and play safe. Now starting with the top, we have Priest, really good range damage dealer. I use this and it's really nice for Shrine Peak, doing your Wednesday, Thursday, Friday group stages. You use the Priest buff. You throw out your Tenacity Ball, Thunder God, and Frostworm from the judge side, and it literally one-shots anyone who's in your range, even people who are a bit bigger than you. I do it literally every single week, and it also gives you a shield so you don't lose HP, so you get higher points during that trade-off. Also, as I just said, Tenacity Ball, Thunder God are just amazing skills. The heal is good if you're in a team that needs it. Then we go into Gladiator. Gladiator is still very good, even with Dragon Knight and Mechanician around, lowering your healing, as well as we have a few fairies now that reduce healing. You can still push out a ton of damage, especially with you converting HP into attack. Things like Top League that give you invisible HP, like they give you, there's a word that people use for it, but you get a big bump in HP in things like Top League, way more than normal, which is why people survive a bit longer, and you convert all of that into extra attack, which most classes can't do things like this, so that's very powerful. Marksman, as I just said, very strong in PvP, does some of the greatest damage. Be sure to use the cheat sheet that I put out. We are using the second skill of the Wind Chaser side that will do a little bit of CC. It'll give us a bit less uptime on multi-shot because we're not using another marksman type skill to get the cooldown, but the second marksman skill has a pretty short range and a very long animation, whereas the first skill has a super long range and a very quick animation. So you're just going to be using that, Never Miss, and multi-shot, and go to town. Then Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight went up a bit this month, pretty much because of the player base. And what I mean by that is people aren't really playing around the Dragon Knight as much. So what I did last month is just analytically looking at them, which one is the best. But right now I'm looking at it as how are people actually playing it. And Dragon Knight, it's a third skill where it jumps in and does like a short stun effect, and then you can go off. Very, very powerful. But you can easily dodge it, as well as the spear drop. They can instant spear drop and it'll do okay damage, but it's still like a 30-something second cooldown. People are doing pretty decent with it right now. They're also playing around with the wind echo, but we need to have almond before we can really look at that. It'll be interesting to see where it stands next month, assuming people start actually dodging some Dragon Knight abilities. Now in the A tier Dragon Fighter has some really high DPS, but it's continual damage. They do, I don't know, let's say out of a 1 to 10, right? They're doing a bunch of 4s over and over and over. Whereas everyone up there is doing 6 and above every time. So you are doing more damage over time, but it comes down to right now a bunch of burst. Once we get the guild skills up and everyone's around the same power level, Dragon Fighter might be a bit stronger, but right now it is a bit weaker. If they made the scream, the shout, do some more damage, or when you dash it does damage, or anything at all, then it would be a lot better. Then we have Wind Chaser. Wind Chaser's biggest thing is that it's not marksman. Wind Chaser would be like SS tier if they just lowered the animation times. Wind Chaser has really cool abilities, very powerful in PvP, but their animations take so long to cast that you kind of just get stuck in it. Then we have Armor. Armor's biggest thing is it brings the healing reduction. There's a lot of tanks going around, a lot of healing going around, so bringing that is very powerful. Their third skill, the Grenade, has a super long range, very quick cast time, and does a massive slow. The Nether Fire, giving you CC immunity. If they fix the passive, it'll be a lot better. And to the B tier, Judge. Judge can be powerful. Judge can actually jump up a tier or even up to S tier in the certain situations. And that is going to need something like, you're going to need a double tank or a tank and brawler on your team, and something like Top League, and then you come in with a double tornado and the entire enemy dies during the tornado. But what's very interesting is you can actually swap in between. So something like Top League, you come in round 1, you do the Judge strat, you get them with the double tornado that no one expects, and then when you go into round 2, because it's 2 out of 3 on Sundays, you swap to Priest, and then you go with the general strategy that most players are playing, regardless of which of the other 3 S tiers that you're playing. Then we look at Mechanician. Mechanician's worst part is it does do a lot of damage, very similar to Dragon Fighter, but the bots are easily killed and is more healing for the enemy with HP steal rate. Berserker down at the bottom, it is built for PvP, but the damage numbers just aren't there. Let me know what you guys are using down below, if you think I missed anything, and what PvP game mode you are having the most fun with. Till next time, guys.